We were all on the edge of our seat until the final fourth down and everything, but in the end, the Pack prevailed, and we'll definitely take it. Wayne and I will recap the win over the Cardinals and look ahead to the crazy Sunday night game against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. We also have plenty of feedback from all of you, and it's coming up next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Wayne Henderson, glad to be with you again. Also glad to have you back from your R2-V2 conference, Scott. And I think that every Packers player that committed a penalty yesterday needs to have their particular flight home delayed by another 5 hours.
Oh, the penalties are crazy. Yes, I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, back after a week off. Special shout out to Dan Dowler for filling in for me last week. He did a fantastic job, and I really appreciate you allowing me to take a much-needed break. And what a week to come back to. I got to wear my victory tie today. The Vikings lost. All is right with the world, even if my Brewers aren't going to the World Series. But that's a whole other sport. We're not even going to get in there. This is episode 328 of the Packers Fan Podcast. Wayne and I are going to dig into the highlights and lowlights from the win over the Cardinals. And you, dear listener, really brought great feedback to share this week.
And then it'll be time to preview the big game as our Packers head into Pittsburgh to face Aaron Rodgers and the AFC North leading Steelers. Count on Scott to have some keys to victory for our 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers.
Let's start with the leaders of the win over the Cardinals. Obviously on the passing front, Jordan Love, 19 for 29 for 179 yards and one touchdown pass. His passer rating was 93.9. Rushing, Josh Jacobs for 13 carries. He brought 55 yards and two touchdowns. And then receiving, Romeo Doubs, 6 catches for 72 yards. But on the defensive side of the ball, Quay Walker, 9 tackles, 5 of them on his own, and 1.5 sacks. I don't normally do this. Quay Walker was at the top of the list for defense, but I have to mention Micah Parsons as well. Not just because I'm in love with this guy, but 5 tackles, 4 on his own, and 3 sacks. 3 sacks, and they were very pivotal. We're going to definitely talk about that in just a minute.
Amazing stuff. And an honorable mention for another leader from the game, in my opinion, the huge amount of Packers fans in attendance in Arizona. Let's just say that the Go Pack Go chants coming out of that stadium in Arizona, they were on point all day long.
Yes, and listener David Newman was at the game in Arizona. He texted me and said that it was basically Lambeau South down there in Arizona, which was great to see. So let's get into the game itself. First off, the opening drives. The Packers elected to defer after winning the toss, so they got to be on defense. And they had a decent stop that would have forced the Cardinals to attempt a field goal, but unfortunately, Quay Walker got penalized for roughing the passer. It was deserved. He smacked him right in the face. It did give the Cardinals first and goal on the 8th, and I was like, man, that sucks. This is here we go. But thankfully, the Green Bay defense held firm. On the very next series, Micah Parsons had a huge sack on 3rd down, forcing a field goal try again. Sadly, it was successful, so Arizona takes the early lead 3-0 on the opening drive. But note, this was the first time the Green Bay defense allowed any points in the first quarter this season. So very notable there. And then going off to the offensive side of the ball, short, quick passes and consistent hurry-up offense. What do you know, Wayne? The thing I've been calling for, They did it. Wilson refusing to give up. This play stood out to me so much. He made 8 yards out of a play that could have easily been 3. He carried a pile of Cardinals with him. That guy is impressing me more and more. I feel like he's becoming the replacement for A.J. Dillon. I know we loved having him on the team. You know, the 1-2 punch of him and Jones back in previous seasons, but he's kind of solidifying himself as that get us a few yards and keep things alive running back, and I really like it. We did go for it on 4th down around the 50-yard line, and we're successful with a pass to Golden in the flat to keep the drive alive. I was on pins and needles right there with that one. Sadly, the second attempt on 4th down a series later was no good. Love just barely missed Doubs in the end zone. Cardinals were still ahead at this point, 3-0, and took over on their own 45-ish. I don't know what the exact number was there, but it was around the 45.
Close enough, right? Green Bay, we weren't able to close out the first half with what turned out to be a record-breaking field goal. We only had 7 seconds left in the half. Love threw a pass to Doubs down the middle for a decent gain, immediately called timeout like you do 1 second remaining, and Lucas Haversek boots one through the uprights for 61 yards. This was a franchise record distance for the Green Bay Packers. Previously held the record by Mason Crosby. That was way back in 2011, I think, and that was 58 yards, which is no slouch of a field goal. But it just seems like field goal kickers are getting stronger and more accurate, and one of these days, 70-yarders are going to just be routine.
It's insane. And this guy was like going to be a substitute teacher in Cleveland, I think. And they just picked
he was
him
trying
up.
to be, yeah. I wonder if there were lesson plans already ready for him. I don't know.
It just blows my mind. I think I said something on Facebook. If a substitute teacher can do that, imagine what a guy like me could do. I mean, maybe I should go try out for the NFL. No, I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. Things really started going Green Bay's way in the third quarter. Despite going 3 and out on the opening drive of the second half, Rashawn Gary sacked Brissett, forced a fumble. It was recovered by Williams at the Arizona 44. And then once Love and the offense took over, the rest of the drive was a thing of beauty, capped off by a run to the left corner of the end zone by Josh Jacobs, who was pursued by 3 red shirts, but he did not falter. I want to kind of put a punctuation mark on that, because watching that play, he had to have heard footsteps. It was one of and he had the perfect angle to stay away from them, but also beeline it towards the corner of the end zone to get in there for the score. And he didn't look scared at all. Just what an impressive play, and what an addition Josh Jacobs has been to this team. I just love what he's doing. So the game at this point was tied 13-13. So Packers were on the rebound after a sketchy first half.
Sketchy indeed. The Packers also had another solid drive that was later on in the third. It wound up with a score during the first play of the fourth quarter. And Tucker Kraft, he missed a pretty easy pass in the red zone, but on the next play, Love basically threw the ball to nobody. Thankfully, a roughing the passer penalty put Green Bay on the 11-yard line with a first down. And then Kraft, as they say, totally redeems himself with a catch and run into the end zone to tie the game again, this time 20-20. And, it's a little stressful because this game should not have been close, but it was. And a tie at this point, I'll take it.
I did yell at my TV, Wayne, and pulled the Dumb and Dumber line at this point, because I was not happy with Kraft on that simple catch he should have got. And then Micah Parsons with a huge sack on third down in the middle of the fourth quarter. Arizona was driving and actually got within the red zone. The previous play, he had some insane pressure on Brissett, but he was able to throw the ball away before taking the sack. And then the very next play, Parsons was able to bring him down for a significant loss, forcing a field goal attempt. Sadly, again, kick was good, so the Cardinals took the lead 23-20, but still saved a touchdown. Micah Parsons was a beast this game. It shocks me that he didn't get the top bill on the stats, because, man, he made some vital plays on there.
Indeed, he did. And I think it's just due to him being double-teamed half the day and getting held all the time. If those things weren't happening, he probably would have had 6 sacks. But another big highlight to close out the highlights, big stop on fourth down with 6 minutes left in the game. Arizona decided to go for it on 4th and 2. Their quarterback sneak, thankfully, was unsuccessful. The Packers took over on the Cardinals 48. This led to the second rushing score by Josh Jacobs to give Green Bay the lead with under 2 minutes left in the game. Finally, we're up 27-23 Packers. After that, it was just a game of keeping their offense off of the field as much as possible and out of the end zone. It came down to a fourth down pass that wound up being incomplete, giving Green Bay the victory. It's a win, and hallelujah, we made it. We by the skin of our teeth yet again.
And there is a video my wife took of me.
Yes, there is.
Right after that. I did post it on Facebook, but my neighbor, I'll tell the story for our listeners that don't participate in our Facebook group. My next door neighbor is a massive Green Bay fan. And he's unfortunately been very ill. He's had cancer for several years now, in remission, and then it came back, in remission, all this. Unfortunately, his health has gotten so poor that he's had to move out of his house and in with his sister somewhere in town. But he told me a story that for the past 30 plus years, he has been flying this Green Bay Packers flag on the front of his house on game day for the past however many years. And he came over and brought it over to us on Saturday and said, I want you guys to have this. I want this to stay in the neighborhood, even though I can't be here to fly it anymore. I know you guys are big Packers fans, so he gave it to us. So we hung it up on the front of the house on Sunday. Packers won the game, and as soon as they did, I went out there like an idiot on my porch, took that flag out of the thing on the front of the house and just was waving it around, yelling to my neighbors, "Go Pack, go." Nobody heard me probably, or think that who's this crazy person waving a flag, and then stuck it back in the pole. My wife took a video. It was a pretty funny video. So check it out on Facebook if you want to see it. But that thing is going to be flying proud for years to come.
That was a beautiful video. And at one point during the video, I could hear your wife chuckling.
Oh, she was filming it. She thought it was hilarious. She's actually sent it to our family, and one of her brothers or sisters said, "Well, somebody's had too many beers. I didn't have a single drop of alcohol on Sunday." So it was just me being goofy, man. So there you go.
So with that last highlight, let's dig into some lowlights. Now, I think we all learned what a hip drop tackle is this week. They clarified it for us because, as the rules say, a hip drop tackle is a tackle where the defender wraps up a ball carrier, then swivels their hips to unweight themselves and drop their body weight onto the ball carrier's legs or feet, trapping them at or below the knee. This action is dangerous because it puts a high risk of lower body injury to the ball carrier. The NFL banned the hip drop tackle in 2024 because it is associated with a high rate of injuries such as ankle, foot, and knee damage. And Parsons was penalized 15 yards for making a hip drop tackle on third down that would have otherwise forced the Cardinals to punt. I guess in the end, it's the correct call. I don't think it was intentional on Parsons' part because it's a fairly new rule that they banned that. And it was probably just second nature, but it was the call, and we took the yellow flag and went on from there.
I mean, they said that on the field, and I had no idea what they were talking about. Apparently, this was last year, and I don't remember it being a thing last year at all. But, according to the rule, that is a thing, but I'm with you. I don't think, because Micah Parsons even was like, what did I do? I tackled the guy. I mean, he was doing all he could to bring the dude down. I understand injuries are a thing, but even some of the rough in the passer calls, even the one on us, I'm like, guys, this is football. You know what I mean? I think Jordan Love got pushed to the ground. We're going to talk about that later. Speaking of Jordan Love, he did get sacked for a huge loss on third down in the second quarter. Just this is a low light, but I got to say, the offensive line did a pretty solid job this game keeping the defensive line off of him. He had a lot of time back there in the pocket. I was pretty proud of the O-line this week.
We'll give them kudos indeed. Another low light that jumped out at me was allowing the Cardinals to score in the closing moments of the first half. Trey McBride was wide open in front of the end zone, and this came right after Parsons was penalized for being offsides. And earlier in that drive, Arizona also had a 43-yard completion that put him into scoring position. Cardinals leading 13-3 with 7 seconds left in the half. And I thought our defensive front did a pretty dang good job all game long, but our secondary trying to cover Arizona's receivers was suboptimal, to put it mildly.
Yeah, and that wasn't the first time. He was open, same guy, McBride, open again inside the red zone late in the third quarter. This was his second touchdown of the game. Why was nobody covering this guy? I figure it just blew my mind. He seemed to be open all the time. Very rare instance of our secondary just kind of dropping the ball, so to speak. It was very, very frustrating to see. But thankfully, that's the end of the lowlights. It was not a terrible game. I feel like it took to the third quarter for the offense to really start to hit its stride. And I know you mentioned this a little bit in text, Wayne. You don't have anything written here, but I got to mention it. This 27 thing is kind of crazy. We've been talking about the number 27 in relation to this year. Brett Favre was 27 when he won Super Bowl 31. Aaron Rodgers was 27 when he won the Super Bowl in 2011. Jordan Love will be 27 years old by the time this Super Bowl hits. And then I didn't even realize this until you pointed it out yesterday, Wayne, but every game that the Packers have won this season, they have scored exactly 27 points. I feel like I need to get a jersey with the number 27 just out of, like that's got to be my lucky jersey this year or something. But what is up with the number 27?
I don't know. It's Matt LaFleur's game plan, I guess.
I love it.
It's crazy stuff. So will we get 27 points this week in Pittsburgh? We'll talk about that later. But first, our weekly poll question, which again, you can find in the Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on X at Packers Fan Pod. Post it shortly after the game is done, and I wanted to look forward to the future right away. So although our Packers are still in first place in the division, how are you feeling as they head into Pittsburgh to face Aaron Rodgers next Sunday night? No worries at all? I mean, because we have Micah frickin' Parsons? Or are you a little jittery about the game, though nothing serious? Or are you absolutely terrified because it is Aaron Rodgers? And then we did have a write-in vote by Nate Graham who said, get your heart medicine ready in advance.
I feel like that combines with absolutely terrified, right? It's got to be the same thing. But I'm going to say, man, I'm absolutely terrified. I know Aaron Rodgers, and I know Aaron Rodgers has a chip on his shoulder, and he would love nothing more than to welcome Green Bay into his new home and just show them up. Remember the Bear game where he said, I still own you to the Bears? Like, he's got a grudge. He's got all of this angst built up into him, and I'm scared to death. I think there's some things going for us in this game. Our offense and defense are pretty solid, and their offensive line is something to be desired, but we'll get into that later. But still, the tenacity of Aaron Rodgers scares the hell out of me. How about you?
I know that he wants to win this game, but I don't think he has that much of a grudge against us like he does against the Jets, who got rid of him because he apparently wasn't good enough to be on the Jets, who haven't won anything since they got rid of him. I wanted to say that I have no worries at all because we have Micah frickin' Parsons, but I am a little jittery, a little nervous, not serious, because we do have Micah Parsons. So the votes after we tabulated Facebook combined with X came out with 57% are a little jittery, nothing serious. 24% are with you, Scott. They're absolutely terrified. 4% are just going to get their heart medicine ready and go from there. And then 15% went with no worries at all. We have Micah frickin' Parsons. So there you go. Thank you for your votes and your input. Please make it a point to join the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community. Be part of the conversations, PackersCommunity.com, because our live game chat section during Packers-Steelers game Sunday night, it's bound to be pretty lively.
Absolutely. Let's go to our listener feedback. We would love for you to be part of the PFP. What podcast lets you be a part of it? That's us, guys. We want your insights after watching the game against the Steelers, but also please include your Wager a Fun Score guess for the Week 9 Panthers at Packers matchup. Let your voice be heard either by recording your voice, attaching to an email, and sending it to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com, or you can do the old Packers Fan Podcast voicemail line at +1 920 3PACK-GO. We've extended the deadline for your feedback in case you need to sleep on the game's results before calling in. Please send in your feedback before 10 a.m. Central Time on Monday. Of course, the sooner the better. Thank you so much, and go Pack Go.
Hey guys, it's Mark from New Lisbon. Finally got around to calling you guys. I've been meaning to do it all year. Game just ended. The Packers are 4-1-1. And there's only 3 teams in the 32-team league that have one loss, and we're one of them. So a lot of gloom and doom in the first half by some Packer fans, but a great win on the road. And the defense, which hasn't been good in the fourth quarter, we were still good in the fourth quarter. And Micah, what can you say? Micah was amazing. And that's exactly what we traded for Micah Parsons for games like this. So, positive, I was wearing my Tucker Kraft jersey all game, and he was huge. I think he was targeted 10 times. He had a touchdown, some big third down conversions. Micah is just a beast. He's been getting better every week. So, thank goodness we have him. Quay Walker played a great game. He had a penalty, but 9 tackles, 1.5 sacks. Another positive, the O-line only allowed 1 sack, and we ran the ball if we needed to, so it kind of feels like our O-line is starting to gel, and our offense is going to really click when Watson and Reed finally come back. Negative 10 penalties, a couple of special teams, a lot of pre-snap penalties, got to clean those up. And the other negative is it just seems like we're not a good road team. This was our first win on the road in 4 attempts, so we just don't come out ready to play on the road. So we got to, be better and more mentally tough. On to Pittsburgh, and I can't remember who their quarterback is. Is it still Roethlisberger? Of course. Great podcast, guys. Glad to be back on. And go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed. Mark, great to hear from you as always. Roethlisberger, man, there's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
There you go.
Yeah, I think the point about not being good on the road is kind of a tale of this season for sure. That's where we've been faltering. We lost in Cleveland. We tied in Dallas. We came close to losing in Arizona. That's our weak point at right now. And unfortunately, we're already past the bye week, so we can't, regroup until we get to that. Remember that long stretch we got coming in the back half of the season where we have like 5 night games or something. So we may have a little bit of an extra break in between there for one of those, but then we got a shorter break in between. It's going to be nuts, man, around the holidays. I am not looking forward to Packers football, except, obviously it's fun to watch Packers on Thanksgiving. But yeah, we really need to clean up the road game situation because that's never been like a chink in our armor, and I feel like it really is this season.
And we're on the road this week in Pittsburgh. But luckily, Mark, if you wear your Tucker Kraft jersey again, I don't think we have any worries at all.
Hey guys, Jay Walters from California. Man, what a stressful game. I can't believe that. They were supposed to show it on TV. They didn't show it on TV. I had to listen to it on the radio. I wasn't prepared. And getting those updates, the radio's behind and just really hard way to watch. But, Packers 10 penalties again, 3 for 10 on third down. Man, that's just, we've got to clean all that up. But, the offense, I never lost faith in them. They were good the whole time. I never really felt bad. The defense, though, giving up all those long plays and just, man, but they did come through in the end, so they are making progress. They're not giving up. And how about our kicker, man? We've had good luck with kickers and pull this guy out of nowhere and it breaks the record. That's just fantastic, man. And then that 4th and 2 towards the end, and they were going to bring in the kicker. And I thought, oh, man, LaFleur, come on. Let's go for it and get this over with and win the damn game. And all of a sudden he changed his mind and did just that. And then that was so much better. But, man, that last minute was tough with them driving down the field like that. And it's like I couldn't watch it. So I'm sitting there listening for details, and they're slow. And I don't need games like that. Anyway, I'm glad we got the win. Things are looking up. Let's take that 4-1 and run. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. Back at you, Jay. Thank you so much for putting that together, sending that in. Sorry that you had to just be able to hear the game on the radio. It's not quite the same, though. In a lot of times, I do prefer the radio announcing for the game, but that's the way it is. 3 for 10 on third down. Not great, but we are having good luck with kickers. And thanks for the reminder of that play where, LaFleur wanted to send out the kicker, have Harvasek make another field goal instead, but then got waved off by Jordan Love. And I was a little stressed because wasn't it like 4th and 5 or something? But we made the first down.
It wasn't an easy one.
No, I was nervous.
Yeah, so was I. But honestly, it was the right call. Even obviously it went our way, but that was the right call. My Packers fan chat was blowing up. Why are we not going for it? This is the time to seal the deal. And then we're all like, oh, we're kicking a field goal. I don't know. I just love how passionate we all get about football. And Jay, thanks so much for the call. I love that you can't watch it on TV, so you find a way to listen to it. Some people would probably just pull up the play-by-play kind of thing and watch the stats go by, but no, you're committing, going to old school to the radio. I don't even know who's announcing the games in Green Bay anymore. I haven't listened to the radio in so long. I have memories of, as a kid, sitting in church because my parents made me go to church on Sundays, and we'd get out about 11 30 or whatever. It was a long drive home, and we had to listen on the radio in the car until we got home to be able to turn on the game and got to watch the rest of it. But we would sit. That's just a good memory of having to listen. Back before we had smartphones and we could just watch it on YouTube Live or whatever. So that was awesome. And yeah, how lucky have we been with kickers? I feel like we had that stint with Mason Crosby where he struggled for like half the season.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, Mason Crosby's like, oh, he's done, blah, blah, blah. And then he came back and had like 2 or 3 more great seasons.
Exactly.
It's been awesome.
We won't talk about the rough time we had with Anders Carlson, but we've moved on. Sorry, Anders.
Yes.
And let's see who else sent us in a message. Oh, look at this. It's coming in from Colorado.
Hey, Wayne and Scott, Jared in Colorado, calling about the win over the Arizona Cardinals. I could have done without the near miss cardiac arrest. But hey, the Pack got it done. It's going to make this kind of short today, but some pretty awesome highlights. First off, Micah frickin' Parsons, man. Way to shut up all the haters. I had, all the internet memes and those, a couple episodes ago, I mentioned a Cowboys fan and a Bears fan that I work with. They were talking some mad crap about, you guys spent all this money at Micah Parsons and you've only gotten your 2 sacks and blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, he had a 3-sack day, 6 quarterback pressures, and he was playing so well that on that final Cardinals drive, they had pulled Micah Parsons off the field, I assumed to kind of give him some rest because he was just balling out all game. And then they ended up getting this huge, deep play, and so they threw him back out into the field the next play, and then he got his sack. So again, I mean, that's just been the story of Micah Parsons. Even though his numbers haven't been bouncing off the pages, like he has still made an immediate impact. So love to see him have the day that he had. Lucas Harvisick, field goal franchise record. Some dude who we picked up off the street who was substitute teaching a week ago goes on to set a franchise record for longest field goal. What a great story. Love those types of things, and man, talk about a special dude right there. I gotta give mad props to Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns. This is the 3rd game in a row where Jacobs has had 2 touchdowns in a single game. I mean, just phenomenal performance by him as always. And then I have to give a huge shout out to Matt LaFleur for trusting his quarterback on that 4th down conversion on the Packers' final drive. Obviously there was some scrambling there where they were staying on the field and then changed their mind, brought the field goal unit to tie the game, and then Jordan Love did some sideline negotiating with LaFleur to bring the offense back out in the field, so by extension, I got to give a lot of credit to Jordan Love for seeing something that LaFleur wasn't seeing on the field, advocating to go back out there and convert for the first down. I mean, that's just a testament right there of the growth that he has had as a quarterback. It means it's a wonderful sign because it means that he's being able to read defenses and pick them apart and see holes or see soft spots in a defense that he just wasn't able to see before. And so for him to be able to see something and be like, hey man, we can go back out there, give us a shot, we'll get the first down. And that's a huge notch in Jordan Love's belt. I think it's just another testament to how much he's grown this season. I think overall he's just doing so well. He's not making those boneheaded throws in the double coverage when something's not there, he's throwing it away. And so really, really awesome to see. So yeah, all in all, really, really gritty team win. It's what you want to see. There's definitely some concerns with the defense letting off the gas for a lot of those third down conversions. I mean, God, it felt like all game they would have these amazing first and second down stops and getting them into third and long situations, and then they go and convert. That third, it sticks out to me because it was so egregious, but there's that 3rd and 23 that they converted that was just so frustrating. So, I would love to see that fixed. I mean, I understand that, you're not going to get a perfect game for all 60 minutes of football, but it is just a pretty stark contrast, which I don't really understand. But love the team win. Let's move on to the next one. It should be an interesting. You know that the NFL media machine is going to play it up. Packers versus Steelers, master versus apprentice, with Rodgers and Love respectively. It's going to be an interesting game, especially considering Rodgers is showing the season he's still got it. So, love the win, and let's keep the wins rolling. Go Pack, go!
Go Pack, go indeed. Jared, thank you so much for the call. I love what he said about shutting up the haters.
Yeah.
That's just how you do it. When people complain about it and say you made a wrong call, you prove them wrong. That's exactly what he's done. He also made a really good point about this is Jacob's 3rd game in a row with 2 touchdowns. They mentioned that on TV, and it's just kind of mind blowing. I'm not used to Green. I know I should be used to it after Aaron Jones in previous years, but it just still feels so weird to have a top tier running back on our squad, and he's just definitely holding up to that too. And yes, kudos to LaFleur for recognizing and having faith in Jordan Love. He really is starting to earn it. He's not perfect, but he's definitely keeping up with the past 2 quarterbacks on this team in terms of stats. I mean, he's doing just as well as they did, and I like that he's not as what's the word I'm looking for? He doesn't take as many goofy chances that Favre did. And I also feel like Jordan Love is not going to have the attitude that Aaron Rodgers wound up having towards the end of his career. I feel like we're getting the best of both worlds in terms of somewhere right in the middle between Favre and Rodgers, which is exactly what this team needs. And I think LaFleur sees that as well.
Ooh, I like that, Scott. And Jared added a quick PS, and thanks again for the call, Jared. He said, let's give all the cheese-covered good vibes for player safety. There are some guys banged up, and the Pack still have a long stretch ahead of them with the bye week in the rear view. So, yes, cheese-covered good vibes. Oh,
I love that. That needs to be a T-shirt.
I'm sure that AI can make that happen in just seconds. We got one more call. Let's see what's going on.
Go, Pack, go! Well, just like the Packers plane, it took a few hours for the offense to get up off the ground. Didn't like seeing that. I'm going to again call Matt LaFleur out again with his play calling. It just felt very disjointed. It was like watching somebody with ADHD that's unmedicated who can't stay focused. Squirrel! I mean, nothing against anybody with ADHD. I'm one of them. But like, it wasn't congruent. It just didn't flow with the game. The penalties went 10 penalties for 94 yards. I will say and Alex Bartman, don't get mad at me. But the officiating crew, this is data driven. This crew actually caused the most penalties of any NFL crew in the league. But, those penalties, they were justified. I'm going to say that right now because they were penalties, and a lot of the times we heard on the broadcast that some of them were a little ticky-tack, but, regardless, they were penalties. I want to call out Nate Hobbs. It's time for that experiments to go away. He just can't cover on the outside, and that was highlighted by I went on defense when they converted 3rd and 23, 3rd and 14 with those long passes. It's time to put that one to rest. Maybe let Carrington Valentine go out there and see what he can do. I loved seeing the 2 short fields that turned the tide, resulting in 2 touchdowns. The Rashawn Gary forced fumble, recovered by Evan Williams, and then the 4th down play where they stopped the Cardinals from converting that 4th down. And both of those resulted in a touchdown. And again, like I said, that goes back my keys to victory last week. Interceptions, or turnovers, that was one of them. Another thing I want to call out, my keys to victory, the all gas, no brakes. The call at the end of the half by LaFleur. I know I said I was critical of him earlier in this voicemail, but at the end of the half, to take the cojones that it took to try to get a score and then put Haversick in a position to kick a 61-yard franchise-leading field goal, that had to take some cojones. And they said Josh Jacobs was questionable in the game with a calf injury. Hello, 2 touchdowns. Also, Jordan Love with several good runs to move the chains. Also, Dubs, Kraft, Golden, they were all clutch in this game. Now let's talk a little bit about parity in this league. In this game, I don't know what it is about the Cardinals, but we always seem to have these games where, at the end of the game, I turned to Jill and I said, you know what? My butt is clenched so tight that I could probably cut a piece of rebar. And I'll tell you what, let's look at the numbers. Yards per pass on both teams were a 5.6 yard average for both teams. Rushing, both teams had 94 yards rushing. How about that for parity? It's exactly what the league wants, and it's what it's getting. You got all these crazy games. Look at last night with the Denver Broncos. All of a sudden, they were down I think 19-0, and then they scored 33 points in the 4th quarter alone. I don't know what's going on. Look at the Cardinals. They've lost their last 5 games by a combined total of 13 points. And now let's turn our attention to the circled game of the year. I was kind of joking with Wayne, and I was going to call this the Miyagi Bowl, teacher versus student. This is Aaron Rodgers versus Jordan Love. Packers, Steelers, Super Bowl 45 rematch, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be one heck of a game, I think, and I can't wait to see it. I'm going to have the opportunity to go there. I'm going to be attending with another Pittsburgh Steelers superfan called, his name is Steeler mascot Troy. He dresses up like Troy Polamalu, but he's like 5'6", this little short dude. He is a firecracker. He's letting me stay at his house, so that's just saving me some money. But this is going to be one heck of a game. I don't even know what to do for a wager of fun. But I'm going to go with what's been going on. For all of our wins so far have been 27 points. I'm going with 27 Green Bay Packers, 25 Pittsburgh Steelers for the 2-point win against their arch nemesis, Aaron Rodgers. Go, 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 Pack, go!
Go Pack, go indeed, Dan Dyler, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow. And thanks again for filling in for Scott last week. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, our offense did take a while to get off the ground. And I did not know that this was a particular officiating crew, Scott, that calls a lot of penalties. So they've got eagle eyes on the field.
I don't keep track of that kind of stuff. I just watch the games, man.
I understand. And brings up a valid point. What is the problem with Nate Hobbs? Should we put in Carrington Valentine or somebody else?
He was an issue last week as well. I mean, he's had some chances, and I like Valentine. Let's do it.
Okay. It's settled, though. And it's true. We always do play the Cardinals closely. So, and Dan, props. You're going to the game of the year outside of our upcoming Super Bowl appearance, but have a great time. It's going to be loaded with stories. So let's dig in. I'm really curious to see what the ratio of Packers fans to Steelers fans that game is, because that's a tough one. The
Cardinals game was overwhelmingly Green Bay fans. At least it sounded like it.
No,
I
it
couldn't
was.
see. Was it? When I went to the Titans game last year, it was overwhelmingly Packers fans, but the Steelers fans are hardcore. I feel like that could be a lot more down the middle, but I would love to see the Packers just overwhelm that stadium and I imagine we'll hear some boo birds when when Rodgers comes out of there. But the media is going to have a field day.
Oh, yeah, it's already starting.
With that game.
It's going to build into a fever pitch for sure. Oh, my goodness.
And it's on a Sunday night. That was intentional.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be watching that game.
That is for sure, because your 4-1-1 NFC North leading Green Bay Packers cruising into Pittsburgh to go up against the 4-2 AFC North leaders, quarterbacked by Aaron Rodgers. Many people will be waiting all day for Sunday night on October 26th, 7:20 p.m. Central Time, which I believe is 1:20 a.m. in Dublin. Woo, it's going to be a tough one overseas, but we'll see what happens. The Packers, of course, lead the all-time series with the Steelers, but just barely, 20-17. And this is undeniably a historic rivalry. It all goes back to October 15th, 1933. And to put that into perspective, that first meeting between these two teams was just 12 days after baseball legend Babe Ruth made his final pitching appearance. And anyway, the Packers won this first game against the then Pittsburgh Pirates 47-0, Scott.
Wow. Almost that's even worse than the beatdown Ohio State did to Wisconsin this past weekend, which was 45-0. Yeah, that's a lot of points.
In fact, we beat Pittsburgh in all 9 of our first games against them. Is it too early to get a Go Pack Go?
Not at all. Go Pack Go indeed. And, I got to throw this out there too. Thank goodness the Packers won this game, not only because obviously we want them to win, but it would have been the most bummer weekend of Wisconsin sports.
True.
The Badgers losing by 45 points, the Brewers missing their shot at the World Series with a sweep 4-0, and that the Packers had lost. I just would have gone and stuck my head in the sand. It would have been a bummer.
But it didn't have to happen. So, and in all the times that we've played the Steelers over the years, this is one of those rivalries where home field advantage hasn't really been a thing to rely on. However, when we play against the Steelers in Cowboys Texas Stadium, we win. I mean, sure, that Super Bowl meeting has only been one time so far, but it is what it is. Scott, we are undefeated against the Steelers in Texas, baby. Unfortunately, this game's in Pittsburgh.
Take it.
And one of the most memorable Packers-Steelers games, for me anyway, was an early day game on Christmas Eve, 1995. Not only were there a few snowflakes on this chilly day, but the best part is the Pack beat the Steelers at Lambeau Field 24-19 to claim their first division championship since 1972. That was a 23-year-long wasteland. And I clearly remember even seeing Steelers coach Bill Cowher smiling on the sidelines as the game ended. Even though Pittsburgh lost the game, Bill Cowher was smiling because he knew what a magical moment it was for one of the greatest NFL teams and fan bases.
I love it. Clearly, the Super Bowl is the most memorable one for me. That was the year the Packers faced the Bears in the NFC Championship game. And if you guys remember the story, I had challenged my Bears fan-loving buddy a little wager on that game, and whoever lost had to wear the opposing team's jersey to the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Packers won, and my buddy Chris is a bigger fella. And it was a struggle for me to find a Packers shirt that he was able to squeeze into, but he did, and it was a lot of fun. And also that game, we had imbibed quite a few alcoholic beverages that day. And at the beginning of the game, my buddy Nicholas said that if the Packers won the Super Bowl, he was going to let us throw him into a snow bank in my backyard because there was snow on the ground at that point. And there's a video somewhere on the internet of us kind of like 1, 2, 3, and just like hurling him into the snow bank, and it was a good time. So. Lots of fun memories of the Packers beating the Steelers that game. But, man, it's been too long. I'm ready for another Super Bowl win.
Yes, indeed. And, this week in Pittsburgh, there's not going to be any snow. It is going to be full of hype and maybe something that they call rain. There's a 60% chance of rain showers and about 60 degrees at kickoff. That's about 16 degrees Celsius. So putting all those things together, Scott, and everything that has you scared to death, what are the Packers going to have to do to get a victory over the Steelers? Do you have some keys for us, Scott, some keys.
I do have some keys to a victory. First off, there needs to be a consistent pass rush. Pittsburgh's pass blocking grade ranks among the worst in the league. The Packers should bring pressure early and bring it often, using some blitzes to keep Rodgers off balance. That disruption could lead into takeaways to swing momentum, but they shouldn't ever let Rodgers feel comfortable in the pocket or establish any kind of rhythm himself. If Green Bay can create negative plays up front and force Pittsburgh out of their comfort zone, that will tilt the game in their favor. Number 2, focus on the red zone. Last time the Packers played the Steelers, they lost the game despite outgaining Pittsburgh 399 yards to 324 yards. A big reason for that was their failure to close the deal in the red zone. During that game, they made it inside the 20-yard line 5 times, but only found the end zone once in those 5 times. Love has a lot more reliable weapons at his disposal, so the theme here is ABC. Always be closing, which means touchdowns instead of field goals. Best way to make that happen is with those quick, short passes instead of always going for the dagger. I feel like I'm saying that every freaking week.
You are.
Short, quick passes. Let's do it. And strategy number 3, save the drama for your mama. There's a reason that tickets are so hard to come by this week. Everyone wants to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers when he faces his former team for the first time since leaving. Everyone is going to be salivating for the drama, but the Packers should leave that business to the fans. Let us get all worked up about that, but the team itself should treat this like any other Sunday. We're not here to embarrass a former disgruntled player. We've put that behind us, and the team should do the same. All that matters is a win. And there you have it.
Win, baby. Nice work, Scott. And yes, leave the drama out of it. It's going to be fine. We got a game to play. Oh, good stuff. Thank you, Scott.
Moving on to our Wager O Fun. Last week, my prediction was Green Bay 27, Arizona 17. What do you know? I got the Green Bay score exactly right. And Wayne, Green Bay 28, Arizona 21. Unfortunately, his differential was only 3, even though I got one of the scores exactly correct, which doesn't mean for anything. But he beat me once again, as the final score was 27-23. The big winner on the PFP listener section this week was Brett Connor, who he had a differential of only 2 points. Green Bay 27, Arizona 21.
Wow.
Way to go, Brett. So he is officially on the board. Jay Walters is still in the lead with 2 wins. But second place is now tied with David Hawkins and Brett Connor, each with 1 win each. As for Wayne and I, Wayne has a lead 3-0. I have yet to win one of these, so I have a lot of catch-up to do. Because you know what, Wayne? You may not agree to it, but I'm going to commit to it. If I lose this thing, I will wear a kilt. I will wear a kilt. Was it Brett himself that had posted the picture of a kilt? I can't remember if that was Brett. Whoever it was of you, send me the Amazon link. Because I need to get one either for me or for or for Wayne.
Oh, good stuff. I wonder how many weeks till I can clinch.
You got a ways to go, man, and there's plenty of time to catch up. This week's prediction, man, I hemmed and hawed. Packers are favored by 3 points on a road game is kind of insane to me. I'm still scared to death. Don't hate me, Wayne. I think Pittsburgh's got this one. I think they want it more. I'm going to say Pittsburgh 22, Green Bay 20.
What? I thought you were going to pick the Packers to win. Okay.
I went back and forth, man. Like I said, I think Pittsburgh's got us this week.
Okay. You said Pittsburgh 22, Packers 20?
Correct.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm going to go with the Packers win, baby. Packers 24, Pittsburgh 21.
Interesting that neither of us picked Green Bay with 27. I don't think that's going to happen, especially if it's going to rain. There's not going to be as many points scored this game. So that's my... Anyway, here's our Packers Fan Podcast listeners for week 9 of the Packers Fan Podcast Wager Fund. Garrett Stritzel says Green Bay is going to win 24-23. Brett Connor says it's going to be close. Sorry. Green Bay 21, Pittsburgh 24. See, Brett Connor is with me on that. Matt Bean says Green Bay 27, Pittsburgh 20. Miles Skaggs says Green Bay 20, Pittsburgh 13. And Dan Dyler, there it is, Green Bay 27, Pittsburgh 25. You heard that earlier. Lots of 27s in there. I'm sensing a trend in there. Can it be 5? Can it be 5? We'll just have to see.
And if we get 27, that means we win. The NFC North, the The Packers 4-1-1 in first place. The Lions are 4-2. They're playing on Monday Night Football against the first place Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. So go Buccaneers. The Bears are 4-2. They moved up to third place. The Vikings, last place, 3-3.
That is kind of crazy. By the way, second quarter, the Lions are still up 7-0, 6:47 left in the first half.
No worries. Baker Mayfield's got this.
I hope so. And man, the Bears have won 3 in a row. They're not looking terrible.
I think 4.
Is it 4? They did win 4 in a row? My apologies. Wow, rough start, and then
they're
on the way back.
No need to apologize when it involves the Bears.
Hey, as long as either them or the Vikings are in last place, I'm perfectly happy. That makes me look good. So, some other happenings that caught our eye this week. First off, how about Denver? You mentioned it already, but coming from behind to score 33 points in the fourth quarter to beat the Giants on Sunday, they were down 19-0 at the end of the third quarter. Imagine being a fan who left after the third quarter and missed on one of the best comebacks in history. Prior to this game, this is an interesting stat, Wayne.
Okay.
Prior to this game, the NFL had 1,602 consecutive games won by at least 18 points with fewer than 16 minutes left to play. This broke that streak of 1,602 games.
Wow.
Where if someone was leading by 18, they still won the game. This flipped that around. What a crazy... First off, how do you figure that? I want to know the computer that these statisticians have, that they can just punch all this stuff in and come up with that stat, but I thought it was kind of crazy.
I think they just went into Grok and it spit it out 90 seconds later. But why even think of looking into it? And
right?
that was difficult to watch because Jackson Dart and the Giants, they've been exciting so far this season. And they mostly their defense, I think, just choked it away to the Broncos. Also a bit heart-wrenching to see the Dolphins bench Tua after all he's been through. I know nothing lasts forever, but I'm not sure if it's permanent or just because he was having such a bad game, but it still is like, really, you're benching Tua? Oh my goodness. And then bye weeks, every week lately, there's just been 2 or 3 teams on bye weeks. This week, the Cardinals, the Lions, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Rams, and the Seahawks all head into their bye weeks. And this should cause everyone's fantasy teams to need a little bit of adjusting.
Absolutely. That's a lot of teams on bye, and it's going to be an interesting week for fantasy football for sure. But, man. All right, before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody about my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider. We got a new episode out this week, and we've got a special guest in Ben Ruiz. He's the developer of a game called, get this, Bounty Star, The Morose Tale of Graveyard Clem. I love that title. We also have a ton of new games to discuss this week since we missed a week due to R2V2. One is called By Sweet Carol, and I swear this game looks about as close to an interactive 90s era Disney cartoon. It looks incredible. It's got Don Bluth written all over it, even though it's not Don Bluth. You can hear my show at the same places you listen to this one, and you can find our website at thegamingoutsider.com. Thank you so much for continuing to support your Packers Fan Podcast via Patreon. Details on how to join can be found at packersfanpodcast.com/giveback. Jay Walters, your Bart Star level support definitely warrants a thank you and a Go Pack Go. Dan Dyler, Go Pack Go, and thank yous for your Jordan Love level patronage. We do appreciate it.
Also sending thank yous and Go Pack Goes to these supporters at the Brett Favre inspired level. Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast. They are currently on a hiatus, but I have a feeling they'll be returning that relatively soon. Also, Scott Bors and Megan. And Go Pack Go and thank you to these Lambo level patrons, Hank Davis from the free Podcast Tools YouTube channel, Brett Connor, and Joe Christensen. And if you're interested in joining in, check out the details at packersfanpodcast.com/giveback. And the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, so it's up to you to please tell a friend all about the Packers Fan Podcast.
You can follow us over on Twitter at PackersFanPod, or my personal handle is at GoCastScott, and my podcast handle is at TheGoCast. And if you'd like to follow Mr. Wayne Henderson himself, you can do so at Wayne Henderson. And here is PFP community members Megan, Dan Dyler, Joe Christensen, and Andre in LA with their Go Pack Go outro to get us ready for AR12, a.k.a. AR8.
Go, Pack, go!
Go, Pack, go!
Go, Pack, go!
Go, 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 Pack, go!